Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, where ordinary heroes tell extraordinary stories during unique and never been heard before conversations with your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Hilary's unique listening and way of asking questions results in conversations that aren't usually talked about, so you can create the life that you really want but are afraid you can't really have. We are demonstrating the greatness and the human spirit in creating a world where we all reclaim our birthright of joy, happiness, purpose, and passion. Now, here's your host, Hilary Arno Burns. Welcome to the Getting Real with Hilary show, and today we have a very special guest. We have Shellee Howard, who is the founder and CEO of College Ready and the 2026 Global Educational Consultant of the Year, as well as being a wife and mother of 4. So welcome, Shellee.
Thank you so much, Hilary. It's great to be here.
Yeah. So if you were the 2026 Global Educational Consultant of the Year, that's pretty recent, right? Because we're in 20. When did you receive that? Recently?
It would have been April of this year. I flew to the Philippines to pick up the award and walk the red carpet. It was quite the big gala.
Why was it in the Philippines?
They move it every year. So last year, I guess it was in Dubai. It's an international award, so they take it to all of the different destinations. I don't know. I just happened to be the year of the Philippines. So it was fantastic. And what an experience for sure, and an honor.
And did you have to apply for it, or they just knew of your work? Like, how did that happen?
I was nominated, and I still don't know who nominated me. So that's always interesting. And then I had to basically write an essay about what it is that I do and my beliefs and what we've accomplished. And then I had to do a panel interview of 8 panelists and kind of rapid fire questions. And then they voted. And so they being, I'm not sure who they are, but a bunch of international people who decide who is going to get this year's, bid for that award.
And did you do that in the Philippines, or they did it online before you went?
Yeah, they did it all online before I went. I knew I was getting the award before I booked my trip to the Philippines.
Okay. Wow. Had you gone any other years, or you just go when you're not?
3 years ago, I received an award in Dubai.
Okay.
And so that one was for College Ready as a company.
Oh.
And it was a wonderful experience. And so again, it was not something that I even knew existed.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful opportunity to meet great, successful, impactful people from all over the world. It really opened my eyes to what else is going on.
Wow. All right. So let's go backtrack. So where were you born? Where were you raised?
I actually grew up, I'm 5 generations from Orange County, California. So I grew up in Laguna Beach.
Okay.
And had a very small school that we attended. I think my graduating class was 200. So it was very small and a very laid back beach community. And then from there, I went on to San Diego State, and then UC San Diego is where I ended up getting my master's in certification. So pretty much a Southern California person, except I've been to 101 countries. So a local love of travel.
Wow, 101 countries. That's amazing. Okay, what did you get your master's in?
It was consulting, or counseling is what was the credential. And then I became an independent certified college consultant and then a financial strategist. So lots of accolades, but the bottom line is I just want kids to get into the best fit college and graduate without debt.
Wow. And was that always your thing, or just after you had kids?
No, it really never was my thing until my son came home from 8th grade and said, Mom, I want to be a brain surgeon and go to an Ivy League school. Will you help me? And then it became my thing. Yes,
So did you help him?
I did. I did. That young man, he did what I recommended for 4 years. He applied to 12 schools, got accepted to 11, 7 full ride offers, full ride at USC, and Harvard matched it. So he got to go to Harvard completely for free, pre-med, and went on to UC San Diego Medical School. 2 weeks ago, finished at UCLA as chief orthopedic surgeon, and now he's in Africa donating his time to do hip and knee surgery. He was why this whole thing got started, and that was 18 years ago.
Okay, so from 8th grade to when he graduated senior year, so that's, let's see,
15 years of upper
5
education.
years, you figured out how to get him into Harvard free ride.
Yes. And then I did it 3 other times with my own children. And now I've done well over, I think we're at 2,700 students in the last 18 years. But the best part is, I mean, we're up to $80 million in scholarships over that time that students have earned. And I know that was part of my accolades of why I received the international award. But it's important to realize that it is possible not only to get into college, but to graduate without debt. My 4 kids are no different than anybody else's children. They just knew what to do.
And how did you figure that out? You know, my kids went to college. There's debt. You know what I mean? And I thought that my ex did a good job of getting the price down, but obviously not. So how, like, where did you even start to look? Like, how did you know you could even do that?
So I am an entrepreneur.
Okay.
College Ready is my 7th business that I've started. So I've been at it now a long time. So it's probably my main business. But as I built businesses, I learned a lot about what has to happen each step to get what you want out of the transaction. And so College Ready, I did the exact same thing, only I used my son as if he was a business. And so I reverse engineered. He had a dream. He wanted to go to an Ivy League school. I knew that I didn't want to pay $63,000 a year. And so I mapped out, what does that look like? Who gets into Harvard? Who graduates without debt? And then I put it all together. And that's what College Ready does now for families. So step 1 is we help the child, the teenager, get clarity who they are, what matters to them, and what have they done to prove it. So step 1 is self-reflection, which I believe everybody should do before they graduate high school. And then step 2 is, what do they want to do for their career? Are they looking to be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, a CPA, things that they have to get a college degree? Or do they want to do a trade school, be an influencer, an entrepreneur, that type of career? And then ultimately, when they are ready to adult, how much money will they need to live the lifestyle they want? And this is where most of it breaks down, because financial literacy in teenagers is probably at an all-time low. And then once I help them understand, do they want to buy a new car every year, every 5 years, or every 20 years? That helps them to understand the dollar a little bit better. Then we talk about, will AI be doing that job? And then we get real about where they want to go. Do they want a big school, a small school, East Coast, West Coast, private, public? And then ultimately, what is the best academic fit, social fit, and financial fit for them to be successful? An example would be, I had a student on a call with me. Her dad was very distraught because she wants to be a botanist and attend NYU, New York University, at a 6-figure a year cost. He says, I'm not paying for her to be a botanist to do that at NYU. And so I asked the student, why do you want to be a botanist? She says, because I want to save the earth. And I said, so you don't really like planting or gardening? She goes, oh, no, not at all. I just want to save the earth. And I said, so you're really looking at being an environmentalist? Oh, yeah, I didn't even know what that was called. I just want to save the earth. And the dad was like jaw-dropping. Wow, did I miss a huge nugget of we almost completely lost our relationship because she wanted something that I wasn't willing to give, and we were just not really communicating. So it really starts with that conversation of why do you want to do that? Not in a negative way, like why do you want to be in theater or music or whatever. It's help me understand what about that lights you up, brings you joy. Why do you want to do that? And what does that look like? From there, it's really easy to map it out, but then you get into the scholarship piece. So getting the academic fit and the scholarships is really the unique thing that College Ready does that I don't know any other consultant that does that.
Wow. Okay. I have a couple questions.
Sure.
Do you have other employees or do you do this all yourself?
I do. I have, there's 9 of us.
Okay. So you've trained them all in this, right? So it's
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes. I have professional essay editors and I have application reviewers and I have consultants. And so all of us, I always say it takes a village to get your child into college. And then it also takes a village to make sure they're not taking on massive debt.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll hit the debt thing in a little while. What were your other businesses? If this was your 7th, what were the other ones? I just want to know how it got you prepared for this.
So good. So both my parents are entrepreneurs and neither went to college. I was the first to go to college.
Wow.
And at the age of 12, I was a softball player and my hair kept getting in my face. So I would get these little snappy clips and they were just so ugly. And so what I did is I made pretty ones that I made with ribbon and beads and I sold them at my mom's beauty salon. And they could not keep them in stock. So my first business started when I was 12 and I never looked back. I'm like, this is amazing. Problem solution. Here we go. And since then, the other businesses were professional photography. I was a 6-figure professional photographer and loved that. And then personal trainer, nutritionist, all things that I truly love. I've been able to turn into careers. And College Ready really landed in my lap when my son was giving his speech at graduation and thanked me for doing this for him. And everybody bombarded me. Hey, will you help me with my child? Can you get my child in? And I was doing it on top of my full-time career and realized I really love this. I love inspiring teenagers. I love helping parents not use their retirement to pay for college. There was so much. Go ahead.
Yeah, what was your full-time career at that point?
At that point, I was a professional photographer, very high end, making a 6-figure income. So it wasn't easy to leave.
Yeah.
But I had just realized that was a great season and sold my business and opened up and started a brand new one. And we're going on our 19th application season.
Wow. So what were you photographing? Photographing? What were you photographing?
My specialty was maternity and newborn.
Oh.
Those were my favorite because every parent is so excited in that stage of life. Just such a blessing when you just see a new baby and just the love of the family. It's such a brilliant time to highlight that family.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. So you had all those things. Okay. You let that one go. You started this. That was after your son. You had already figured it out for your son.
Correct. Yes.
Wow.
So I did all of that. I became a certified independent college strategist. and I started touring 25 colleges a semester. I went all in, and it was about 30 hours of work on top of my full-time career and about, 30 or so spreadsheets. And I was really fortunate that my firstborn actually did what I recommended. Remember, I have 3 other kids. That wasn't the case for all of them. So I jokingly say, parents, some of our kids love our advice and others need somebody else's advice.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay. So I get, you're asking them what they want to do, how much money they need, what's the best fit. Okay. How did you do the money part? I'm sure
So
everyone wants to know that. Yeah.
it really came about, well, I first did it for myself, right?
Yeah.
I realized in business, college is a business.
Okay.
Because without tuition, they would not have a business. There would be no colleges if nobody was willing to pay them.
Right.
So once I started looking at college as a business, I started to think, how would I do business? Well, number one is I would never pay full price for anything. I don't pay full price for a home. I don't do it for a car. I really don't like to do it for anything. I like a really good deal. And so that was my first. Why don't people ask for a really good deal? Why do they pay the sticker price? I just started to really question it. And then the second thing is I started to look at, how do other people not pay full price? And I went really deep into that because there's 4 buckets of money. There's the independent scholarships, there's the need-based scholarships, there's the merit scholarships, and then there's the institutional scholarships. So I started deep diving into, how do some students get these buckets of money? And I want all of those buckets of money, please. And then it led me to what was called your expected family contribution. Now they call it your student aid index. But what that is, it's a calculation that colleges tell you how much they think you should be able to pay them. Well, when I put in my numbers, I'm like, they've got to be kidding. There's absolutely no way I can take care of my family and give them all of this money. And then I started to think, well, wait a minute. How do I fix that? And I started to really focus on the FAFSA and the CSS profile. And so I read the FAFSA 3 times. The first 2 times I fell asleep. It was painful. It was awful. It's like reading tax code. And I didn't enjoy it at all. But I was determined to master this. And so I read it and I started utilizing what I had learned. And what that means is, where are your assets held? The FAFSA looks at some of your assets, but not other assets. And most people are like, I just thought it looked at my income. And that is the biggest myth of all. It does consider your income, but it also considers where your assets are held. Any assets held in your child's name is significantly looked at a higher level than in your own name. And so I started really thinking, wait a minute, so you're telling me the rules of the game, right? It's like knowing tax code or doing your own taxes.
Yeah. What kind of assets would be in a child's name?
Oh, a 529 would be in a child's name. It could be an UTMA, a UGMA. It could be a savings account. It could be, grandparent passed away, puts all that money in a child's account. There's lots of ways that could happen.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
And so I really had to understand, how do I lower my student aid index to increase the amount of scholarships that I could get? And then look at where all the buckets of money are. And so I got really, really good at that. And then I started looking at, okay, if cost of attendance is this, some colleges are really, really generous. They give a ton of money. And other colleges are really, really stingy, and they don't give very much at all. And so I started doing some deep diving investigation on who were the generous and who were the stingy. And I'm like, so wait a minute. If I could compare two similar schools, one generous and one stingy, could I play them off each other? Could I do financial negotiations? Could I ask for reconsiderations? And sure enough, you can. And that is a whole nother level of helping families understand that there are many ways to save for college. This year, one of my students, 3.6 GPA, earned over $420,000 in scholarships. She's going to be making money while attending college. That's a lot of money.
And where did that come from? You said there was 4.
Yeah, so she tapped in to the independent scholarships. She tapped into...
Where do those come from, the independent?
Well, it really is based on what the student has to offer. There's a $10,000 scholarship right now if you're a vegan. I could be a vegan if I could get a $10,000 scholarship. So it really is if a child is from an Irish descendant, if they have blue eyes or green eyes or one green, one blue, or there's a scholarship for everything.
And where do they come? Like where'd you even look for this? Obviously you did deep dives, but a regular person, where would you find the vegan one or the blue eye one or the...
So that's the problem.
Oh,
right there. Is there's a lot of scholarships that we call bait and switch, where they're just trying to find out, do you own a home? Do you own a car? And then they're going to send you emails, refinance, sell your car. And I learned that the hard way. My son, my firstborn, I had him do, I think it was something like 27 or 30 scholarship applications. And he was telling them, yes, we own a home. Yes, we own a car. He didn't know, right?
Yeah.
He just said, Mom, you told me to go apply for scholarship. Yeah. And my email was getting blown up from so much spam. And so parents, be very careful, be strategic. I have a program, $275, that gives you step-by-step how to do scholarships. And I learned over the last 18 years that the best scholarships is from the student knowing who they are, what matters to them, and what are they going to do about it. Community service, leadership, extracurriculars, academia, these are where all the money comes from. So if a student is just a student who goes to school, comes home and plays on their game station, there's no scholarships for that student, just as there's probably not going to be a lot of people lining up to give that person a job. So we want to make sure that the student is doing things to set themselves up for success, which should be fun, enjoyable, and helping them get ready to adult. So the answer to your question is, it's knowing how your student is unique and gifted and talented, and then apply to scholarships that offer that. The Coca-Cola scholarship my son won was $25,000 a year. That was one of his scholarships, and it was all based on leadership. He was freshman class president, sophomore class vice president, junior class president, and ASB president. That's a lot of leadership. That's what it took to earn $25,000 a year. So it just depends. What is the student doing? Are they an athlete? Are they really good at their instrument? What are they good at? And then go look for the scholarship. Don't look for the scholarship and then try to fit the student in it.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Now, let's say they play the flute. Do they have to be the best at the flute, or they just have to play?
They just have to play.
Really?
Obviously, if another student is applying to the same flute scholarship and they're in the Philharmonic Symphony, they're probably going to get the scholarship. Mm-hmm. But we don't know who's applying. What if no other flute players are applying for this scholarship, then you're the best one. And that's the number one thing that happens is students don't apply and therefore they don't get money. So then they're like, there's no scholarships. Well, I'm like,
Right.
you have to apply.
And where, and like, let's say, let's talk about the flute one. Is that at a particular school or is that just countrywide flute scholarship? Like, where does that come from? Or
So a scholarship can come from an independent person. College Ready has a $2,000 scholarship I give to somebody a year. It could be from somebody who's passed away. It could be in honor of a family member who played a flute. It could be from the Philharmonic and they're looking for flute players. It could be from a band teacher at USC who's looking to honor flute players. It could be from anyone who has money they want to donate.
And how do you find them?
We have search engines and search vehicles that we help families understand. So there are some good scholarship platforms and there's some not great ones. If you just Google it, it is very dangerous. It's like Googling, why does my thumb hurt? You're going to get a lot of information that's really scary, right? You don't want to Google it. You want to be mindful that you're doing something legit and that it's proven, right? If you don't know anything about this scholarship or who got it last year or was the money actually given or the best thing I tell families, if you don't have to write an essay, probably not legit. Yeah. Because they're just fishing for as many people to do an application to grab that information. And so you need to be mindful. If it's easy, anyone and everyone's going to do it. If it takes a bit of time, writing an essay, doing an interview, that's what it takes. But that's what life takes. If you just show up to work and don't put any extra time, you're not going to get promoted or a raise.
Right.
So it's teaching them young that, they can start applying to college scholarships in middle school. So all of the time that they wasted when they were in middle school or high school or college is all free money that they don't have to pay back. It's like, do they want a part-time job or do they want to tap into what they've already done?
Wow. So let's say you get a middle school scholarship. Where does that money stay until they go to college?
So it depends on the scholarship, the person who gives it. Some of them will just send the money right to the student and they can use it on books, on a computer, on whatever. Others will say, as soon as you pick your college, notify us and we'll put it towards your tuition, right? So some of them allow you to stack mini scholarships. Others of them will say, oh, great, thank you. We'll put that towards your tuition. And that's where it goes. So it really depends on what the scholarship rules are. And they have to be upfront about it. So they're not hiding anything.
Yeah. Wow. I don't think people know this. I didn't know this. I wish I had.
Yeah. And that's why I do these podcasts, right?
Yeah. How did you know how did you even know it was there? Or you were just curious? So you were curious, you learned the FAFSA, you treated it like a business, right? So you thought about it in a different way than most people do.
Right. So a lot of people leave it up to their 15, 16, or 17-year-old. And I think that's dangerous because they don't even know how much $100,000 in debt and what that's going to do to their future.
Right.
And so my son and I would have open discussions about, this is our budget. This is what we are okay paying. And I am not going to sign over my retirement and I'm not going to go into debt. And I just set the ground rules. I was not going to co-sign if it didn't make sense for return on investment. Many parents don't even have that conversation. They're just like, my kid wants to go to UC Santa Barbara. I ask why. They say the view from the dorm and the parents sign the check. So if you want to do it that way, that's totally your prerogative. I think for a student who works hard, a scholarship is an award they deserve, regardless of if you can pay for it or not. I use my kids' college fund to help them put a down payment on a home. That is how I use their money instead of having to pay tuition. So how I came about this was really intellectual curiosity. It just came to me thinking, why would this student get this scholarship and why couldn't my kid get it? That's where it all started.
Yeah.
And I just started to really follow the trends, see who was getting it. And back then, there was no Facebook or social media to do that in. We were looking at books and we were really looking at newspapers. I mean, this started way back when. And that is the difference of, I was just tenacious. I'm like, if I do this right, I'm going to save $65,000 a year. And I have 4 kids. So you multiply that out.
$1 million, more than $1 million. Wow.
And I'm thinking, great, I can help them to buy a down payment on their home. They're set. I don't have to worry about it. And it all worked out. So that's what I want families to understand is it takes a plan and it takes time. The FAFSA looks at the second semester of your sophomore year and the first semester of your junior year. So if you're not even thinking about college until the end of their junior year or senior year, you just trashed so much money that you didn't even know existed. But it's not over. You can still tap into it until the last day they finish college. So it's never too late, but the sooner you start, the better.
So, all right, we have to take our commercial break and then we'll be right back. And I definitely have questions. This is mind-blowing. It really is mind-blowing.
I'm so glad.
Yeah. If my kids were 15 years younger, we could have taken advantage of it, but that's okay.
I know.
Live and learn. We can pass it on. That's why you're here. So, all right,
That's
we'll be right back after a word from our sponsors.
What if school could be a place where every child feels safe to be themselves? Right now, kids are growing up in a complicated world. They're learning how to listen, how to care, and how to find their voice. Kokori's daily digital calendar of research-backed lessons helps children build confidence, empathy, and resilience through joyful play-based learning. When children feel connected and supported, they don't just learn more, they grow into kinder, braver humans. Kokori, helping kids grow together.
Hey, it's Hilary from the Getting Real with Hilary show. Life can be messy, raw, and real. And sometimes we're afraid to feel vulnerable. We're afraid to be that real self. Well, that's exactly what the Getting Real with Hilary show and Getting Real movement is all about. Being our true selves. Every week, I bring you stories of transformation, authenticity, and hope. People getting real with their struggles, their faith, and their breakthroughs. So don't miss a thing. Subscribe to my weekly newsletter today. You'll get stories, links to everything new, and how to create a life you love every week directly to your inbox. You can also find my books on Amazon. My courageous and riveting memoir, The Second Piece of French Toast, in case you feel stuck in your life and want to get inspired. How I came out about my no sex life in my marriage, and my second book, Real Talk. That one will get you speaking up in ways you've been too afraid to do so, and really creating amazing freedom. And my third book, How to Stop Fixing Yourself and Start Having Fun, the name is called Your Bullshit is Your Blessing. Find links to everything and subscribe to my YouTube channel, Getting Real with Hilary, and you'll find the links in the header. So, visit. And you can also visit gettingrealwithhilary.com because the real you is worth it and wants to come out. What if spiritual transformation didn't have to feel confusing or out of reach? When I met Dr. Kay Narayan, a spiritual teacher and healer,
What struck me most wasn't just his presence. It was how simple he made something that can feel so complex. In his book, Spiritual Transformation, 12 Steps to Freedom, Joy, and Your Highest Life, he breaks it down into a clear, step-by-step process. So you're not just inspired, you actually know what to do. This isn't about rare experiences or abstract ideas. It's practical, it's logical, and it's written in a way that just makes sense. And what I experienced myself was a feeling of lightness, of ease, of finally understanding. If you've been searching for something deeper, but want it to feel real and accessible, this is for you. You can get a free copy of his book right now. Just cover shipping and handling. The link is below, because the life you're looking for might be simpler than you think. And thank you, as always, to our sponsors. You saw their commercials, and you see throughout the show their logos going underneath Shelley and I. So thank you again for making this show possible. And now we have more questions for the amazing Shelley Howard. I am blown away by, I just, I can't believe this. I can't. So it's great. Okay. All right. So I have a friend. I definitely, I'm going to tell her about it. She does college. She was the one that figured out with my kids which schools they should go to and which made sense and stuff like that. But I can't imagine that she could know about this, because I think if anybody would, especially the college advisors, like, why wouldn't they at least introduce them to you or learn it themselves? You know what I mean?
And that's the problem. Most college consultants or college counselors, for sure in your high school, because they don't know how much money you can or can't afford, right? So most of them, they don't teach this in College Counseling 101. It's not, this is truly, I looked at it from an entrepreneur's mindset of, how do I win at this? Just like if you were going to buy a rental property, you would have to do some deep research.
Right.
You wouldn't just go buy the first property to see what happens. And so that's exactly what I did. And most people either don't have the desire or don't think it's possible. I think it's one of the two. And so they just don't know about it. I'm sure if they did, they would share.
Yeah. Or they would hire someone who likes doing it, like you,
Right.
To me, research is like, just tell me what to do. Don't make me do, I get confused, and then I don't know what's right, and I get in a mess. So for me, that would not be a fun thing. But if I knew there was someone like you that, my God, could have saved us so much money, it would have been worth the investment for sure. Right? Totally.
And that's what I try to explain to parents is I did all of the heavy lifting. If I would have known somebody at the time, I would have paid instead of having to figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
But everybody who becomes a college-ready client makes 2 to 3 times their investment back in scholarships. And so it really is just time, money, and success. Either they can figure it out and spend the time and the energy, or they can pay somebody who knows how to do it.
Yeah. Wow. All right. Now, how do they find you? So we don't forget to tell them. How do they find you?
Sure. So for your listeners, I have taken both of my best-selling books on Amazon, How to Send Your Student to College Without Losing Your Mind to Your Money, and The College Admissions Plan Simplified. I've taken both digital books to zero. You can go and get a free digital download of my book or books, and that is a gift to your listeners.
Oh.
Also,
And where do they find, how do they get them?
They can either put my name as the author, so Shellee, Shellee, last name Howard, and that will come up, or the title of the book.
Into Amazon, you mean?
Into Amazon.
Oh.
Yep. And up pops
Wow.
my books, and you can click the link and it downloads straight away, and you can listen to it on any of your devices.
Wow. Okay.
So that's one gift. The second gift is for a family who's like you and they're like, I don't want to figure all this out. I don't want to do the research. I am offering a 30-minute discovery call to find out how close you are to being academically, socially, and financially ready for college. And all they have to do is go to www.collegereadyplan.info, INFO.
Okay. So collegereadyplan.info, and they can book a 30-minute discovery call.
That is correct.
Wow.
And then I can help them to understand what they can do to drive down the cost of college and also help them to get accepted. So we are not financial advisors. We are strategists to help families navigate into college without debt.
Woo.
You're speechless. I love it.
Navigate into college without debt. I mean, this is like, I mean, it's revolutionary to my mind, that this is, that this is possible, and B, that you're willing to help people do this. I mean, it's a game changer for I would say, for most kids. Even if they have the money, like you say, put it towards a down payment on your house. I mean,
so good. Yeah. This all actually started as a bet with my firstborn. If you want to know the backstory, why I do what I do.
Yes.
We made a deal that when he got into all of those colleges and had so many full ride offers, when we were touring Harvard and he had decided to go there, he said, Mom, when I get out of Harvard and I have no debt, I bet you I will. And I'm like, I bet you that that's going to be harder than you think. And he said, when I do, will you write a book to help other people do the same? And so it really came from that. And then the day that he crossed the stage at Harvard and handed me his diploma, he says, Mom, where's the book?
So wait, so the bet, who was he betting for? Or he was betting that he could graduate without debt?
Yes. So he was, because that's how it was set up. But he's like, Mom, you need to do this for other people. And I'm like, I have another career. I can't do both.
Yeah.
And he's like, but people need to know this. So he was betting for all the people that need to know this.
Yeah.
And so I did. I took off 3 months and I did nothing but write. And for my 50th birthday, the book was published and it's bestseller in 24 hours.
Oh.
So that's how yeah.
Wow. And where did you publish it? On
Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah. I wanted everybody to have access. I don't do it for the money. I do it because it is life-changing for families to not be in college debt.
Now, can you do it for like grad school, like med school and law school and all that too? Does it apply?
The challenges are there's a lot less scholarships. And that's the reality. So I tell families it is way better to do it in their undergrad. There's a few things that can help when you're in graduate school, but it is not at all as available. And so if you graduate debt-free from undergrad, you can use that money to get yourself through grad school or med school or law school or whichever. My son did 15 years of upper education and only spent $130,000 total. And he is now an orthopedic surgeon, and he'll make way over 6 figures his first job. And that is a good return on investment. Yeah. So that's what we're trying to help families.
Years of education?
Yeah. So he did 4 at Harvard, and then he did medical school, and then he did orthopedic surgery. So it's a lot of education.
So when did he graduate? Like
3 weeks ago now.
So he's been in school all this time. Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
I hope he likes being an orthopedic surgeon. Does he enjoy it?
He loves
Oh,
it.
good.
It is he thought he wanted to be a brain surgeon until he damaged his ACL and MCL playing soccer,
Mm.
and then had to go through the surgery and the recovery, and really thought they changed his life. He thought he would never run again. And he's now doing everything he loves to do. And he's like, that's the kind of gift that I want to give to people. And so he loves it. My second is a registered nurse for pediatrics, and she absolutely loves her career as well. So it is possible to love your career, make great money, and not be in debt. And that's what I
Yeah.
want to inspire families to do.
Wow. Whew. All right. Now, you had said something way back at the beginning about financial literacy. And I mean, I don't think they teach it and all that, but how do you help kids or parents or whoever with that?
So the first thing we do is we help families to talk about the return on investment of that college degree before we ever pick a school, because we want to know what major are they going to apply with, how long will it take them to get their degree, how much they will make right out of college, then do the amortization of how long it's going to take to pay off that college debt. And that's how we know that it is a good return on investment. So most people just say, okay, we're going to go to this school. This is what it costs, and it hurts bad, but we're going to do it. And they just take on the debt, and they get through it. And hopefully that student gets a job. There's just a lot of hoping
Yeah.
and wishing and not planning. I tell families it's like this. If you don't start planning for retirement till you're 75, that's not a plan. And that's what I'm
No.
trying to help families understand. If you want to get out of college debt free, you need to start planning now. We start working with families as young as 8th grade, and most families are like, whoa, that's so early. And I'm like, not if you want scholarships.
Wow. Now, do most kids know what major they want? And what if they change their mind? Is it,
So,
yeah.
yeah, 75% of students that I meet with have no clue. There's about 25% who do and stick with it. My first two did, my second two did not. And why is that important? Because not every major is at every college. Not even though business is a major, it doesn't mean that college is good for being a business major. So we need to help that student, and sometimes their parent, figure out what they want to do in order to help them get clarity about what is a good major and therefore what is a good college. So if a student wants to ultimately go to law school, we want to make sure they graduate at the top 5% of their college class, then to be able to take the LSAT, score well, and then apply for law school or medical school or dental school, whatever school. And so if families are only looking at the very short term of, hey, just get into, University of Michigan because that's my alum and I like that school and it's close to home, but nobody's talking about the cost of, is it going to be a 4-year education, a 5-year, a 6-year, 7-year, 8-year, 9-year, so on and so forth? And is that the best place for them to start? And is it the best place for them to finish? Because I will tell you, my son, he just got married. At his wedding, I talked to 10 of his Harvard roommates and asked them point blank, was your Harvard education worth it? Every single one of them said, we will never have to worry about a job because that alumni will take care of us for the rest of our life. They absolutely all 100% said it was worth it. So what does that say? Where they graduate from matters. It doesn't have to be Ivy League. It could be UCLA. They have a strong alumni group there. It could be Chapman University. They have a great alumni group there. It could be anywhere, but you need to ask the question, do they take care of their graduates?
Right.
Do they
And
offer?
you guys know that because of your research. Wow.
Exactly.
I mean, as you're talking, I'm like, I just think so many people do the hoping method, or they just do it because that's what people do. And I mean, I remember one woman and her daughter, she was sending her to this really, really, really expensive school. And I'm like, why don't you look at a place that's less, because she was willing to go into debt for her daughter. I said, why don't you she goes, I'm going to be in debt for the rest of my life. I'm never going to pay it off. So what's the difference? Wow.
Yeah. And that's the hard part is I can give them all the wisdom, but if they don't do anything about it, nothing's going to change.
I mean, do you find that, because this obviously takes work. So does getting out of debt, but that's later. They'll deal with it later. Do you find that most of the kids or parents or whoever do this? If they hire you, are they serious about it?
If they hire me, 100%, we're 100% successful. And so they do it. They commit, but they have all of the information and support behind them. They're not alone. We're the one who are leading this. All they have to do is share what's important to them. That's not hard. Right? We're the ones holding their child accountable to getting this accomplished. That's not hard.
Right.
Because we're saying, if this is your dream, let us help you get it. We're not saying you have to go do a bunch of homework or do hard things. We say, this is where you go. This is how you apply. This is what the essays should say. We do step by step. So it's not hard at all for the parent. Right. And it's really not that hard for the student because they have kind of the rules of the game.
Yeah.
And then it's not difficult.
And do they know, I know I already asked this, but I'm asking it again. Like, do they really know what their dream is?
Working with us, yes. Not working with us, no. When they come to us, most of them have no idea. They usually say what their parent has said that they should do. They don't really know, but we put in a lot of effort to help them figure out their core values, their gifts, their talents, their advocacy. We help them to actually do things to teach them, yes, I'm good at this, or no, I'm not good at this. Yes, I like this. No, I'm not. I don't like this. And it takes effort, but it can be fun. It doesn't have to be awful. And so I tell students we play the millionaire game all the time. And that is, I let them be a millionaire and ask them how they would spend their $1 million. Do you know how much you can figure out about a student when you ask them where they would spend their millions? You learn that they either like to travel and they would spend it all on travel, or if they would spend it on clothes, or if they would donate it all, or you learn a lot about a child by giving them an unlimited amount of money to be able to use on what they want.
So if they wanted to travel or buy clothes, how does that help you guide them?
Because that means they're very self-focused.
Okay.
They're not other-focused. Right. And that means they need to be in a career that is going to be self-focused. If they are social workers, they may be miserable, one, for the lack of income, right, or two, it's other-focused. Mm-hmm. So you would be surprised what we can learn from everything that comes out of their mouth.
Wow.
Because there's a reason why they say that. I had a student this morning and I was going through the millionaire game and she said, Shelley, I have no idea where I would spend $1 million. My heart broke. That means she has no clue what she cares about. And I helped her walk through it. I said, what would you do with $1? I don't know. And that in itself should be an alarm for a parent, because what happens when they adult and they do have to pay rent and they do have to pay gas and they don't have an idea how much anything costs? So it really comes down to having some intellectual conversations with our children or my students to help them gain clarity about what life they want and what will that look like. Wow. The more we talk about it, the easier the conversation becomes. And so that student at the end told me she would give $500,000 to cancer research. And I said, wow, that is amazing. I said, why did you pick cancer research? And she goes, because my dad died from cancer.
Mm.
And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. And she's like, it's okay. And I said, but I would have never known that about you. And she says, it is why I care so deeply about medicine. And again, I learned something new. So it's just asking and really, no judgment, but needing some clarity.
Wow. Well, you sound like such a gift. Well, you are a gift to all these kids and the world, really. This is, I think, what you're doing is so very valuable. So thank you. And in our last minute, believe it or not, like, what would you like to, what's your vision? What would you like to leave people with? They know how to find you on Amazon and where's the website? It's somewhere. collegereadyplan.info. Yes. Okay, good. All right, go ahead. I'll take it.
So the website is collegereadyplan.com, but to get on my schedule, it's .info. What I really would love to let families know is there's a lot of misconceptions out there. One, that college is too expensive for your child to attend. There are 10 colleges that are tuition free. All your child has to do is work. Okay? It's their work for their education. There's 10 of them. Then money is available in 4 buckets. If you don't look for it, it's not going to land in your lap. And finally, I inspire you to know that this is possible and my kids are no different than your kids, and have these conversations early on and have a plan. What will be your strategy? Are you going to do it? Are you counting on somebody else to do it? Or are you going to leave this up to your teenager? That is the clarity that I would encourage every family to consider before you feel like stuck. I make too much. I don't make enough. We can't afford it. On and on and on. You can, and it is possible. And I will be your biggest cheerleader and cheering you on.
Oh, well, thank you so much. This is so very valuable, and I'm honored that you're here and that we get to spread the word. So thank you.
It's been my pleasure.
Bye, everyone. See you next week.
Thank you for watching this episode. I started getting real with Hilary when I discovered that I was a people-pleasing, pleasant phony and wanted to be more of my real self. We can grow together if you will like the show, subscribe to my channel, and share this episode with your friends and family so that we can have a world that's more real.